Thousands of soldiers from Indonesia and the United States concluded annual joint military drills with a live-fire exercise on Wednesday together with forces from a dozen other countries. According to Associated Press, the Garuda Shield exercise began on August 24 in the capital Jakarta, with activities also taking place in the towns of Baturaja and Dabo Singkep on Sumatra Island. Indonesia's military chief General Agus Subiyanto and Minister of Defense Sjafrie Sjamsoeddin oversaw Wednesday's exercise, which included long-range artillery and rocket firing, integrated airstrikes, and ground troop maneuvers. During the 11-day combat exercise, U.S. soldiers assigned to the 11th Airborne Division for the first time fired 2 FIM-92 Stinger missiles in Indonesia, marking a milestone for Washington. The FIM-92 Stinger is a surface-to-air missile designed to destroy low-flying aircraft. The two missiles were fired in Baturaja last week, it added. Hosted by the Indonesian National Armed Forces. This year's Super Garuda Shield focused on strengthening regional ties in an increasingly unstable global landscape, the military said in a statement. The exercise has been held annually by Indonesian and U.S. soldiers since 2006. The list of participants has expanded since 2022 to include Australia, Japan, Singapore, the United Kingdom, France, Canada, Germany, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Brazil, and South Korea, bringing the total number of troops taking part in the drill to 6,500. Several Asian countries also sent observers to the exercise. China criticized the drills and accused the U.S. of trying to build an Asian NATO to limit China's growing military and diplomatic influence in the region. During a recent speech in Singapore, U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said Washington has been strengthening military alliances in the Indo-Pacific to reassure allies alarmed by Beijing's increasing military and economic pressure and provocative actions in the disputed South China Sea.
For the Astros, what time? 9:56. We have a little bit different on the time. For example,
launchers, like around 9:30.
You have one launcher?
Yeah.
Oh.
You have two.
It's ahead and then they'll fire. They come back, swap crews, do the same thing.
$57 and 50 miles.
President Donald Trump said Tuesday he will send federal intervention to Chicago and Baltimore, calling the cities a hellhole. According to Associated Press, the president was asked if he had decided to send National Guard troops to Chicago and said, "We're going in," but added, "I didn't say when." Trump said he'd like Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, a Democrat, to call him and say, "Send in the troops." If the governor of Illinois would call me up, would love to do it. Now, we're going to do it anyway. We have the right to do it, Trump said. He said he has an obligation to protect this country, and that includes Baltimore.
Mr. President, have you decided you're definitely going to send National Guard troops to Chicago?
I didn't say when, but the answer is, look, Chicago's very interesting because I watched Pritzker get up and say about, we don't need help, we're safe. But 2 weeks ago, they had 6 people murdered, and they had 24 people hit by bullets. Last week, as you know, it was 7 people, 24 people hit, and 7 people died. And then over the last 2 days, that was the crown jewel. They had, I guess, 9 killed, 9 or 10 killed, and 50 hit with bullets. And you have this governor get up, who's a terrible governor. Probably he and Gavin Newsom would be probably the 2 worst and most naive. They're naive. Either they're naive or they're very untruthful. And he'll say, we don't want any protection. We don't need. So in the last 3 weeks, he's lost almost 20 people killed. There's no place in the world, including you can go to Afghanistan, you can go to places that you would think of. They don't even come close to this. Chicago is a hellhole right now. Baltimore is a hellhole right now.
Have you made your mind up on Chicago, though?
Well, we're going in. I didn't say when. We're going in. When you lose, look, I have an obligation. This isn't a political thing. I have an obligation. When we lose, when 20 people are killed over the last 2.5 weeks, and 75 are shot with bullets. So let me tell you a little story about a place called D.C., District of Columbia, right here where we are. It's now a safe zone. We have no crime. And I would love to have Governor Pritzker call me. I'd gain respect for him and say, we do have a problem, and we'd love you to send in the troops, because you know what? The people, they have to be protected. I saw today on one of your networks, not a friendly network, except really the opposite, I would say, very unfriendly network, and they interviewed about 12 people on this morning. Most of them were African American, they were black, and they were saying, please, please, please let the president send in. These were people from Chicago. Please, we need help. We need help. We can't walk outside. We're petrified. If the governor of Illinois would call me up, I would love to do it. Now, we're going to do it anyway. We have the right to do it because I have an obligation to protect this country. And that includes Baltimore. And so I'm very proud of Washington. It serves as a template, and we're going to do it elsewhere. But Chicago is certainly going to be high. I would love to have him call. I would love the governor of Illinois. I'd be honored to take his call. All he has to do is say, sir, we need help. It's out of control. And everyone knows it is. He's not kidding anyone. I would love to have, I would say, Governor Moore call, because I watched him over the weekend trying to explain that Baltimore, what they need is housing. No, they don't need housing. They need to get rid of the criminals. These are hardcore criminals. You know, we took many people off the streets of Washington, D.C. They're hardcore. They're not going to be good. In 10 years, in 20 years, in 2 years, they're going to be criminals. They were born to be criminals, frankly. They were born to be criminals, and they're tough and mean, and they'll cut your throat, and they won't even think about it the next day. They won't even remember that they did it.